Hello. All right, everybody. Sorry for the delay. I'm here with my main man, Big Jonas. Chad's coming to you live. Keeping it real. Hopefully you guys are too. You want to say hello, my friend?
Hey, Chad, how are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. How about you, buddy?
Happy to be here. Happy to do a quick impromptu. A lot of price action happening. Let's get started.
All right, let's get some requests. Let's give people a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and announce real quickly on Twitter. I'm gonna move this a little closer here, so hold on one moment. I'm gonna just quickly announce on Twitter that we're live. Just remind everyone, live. All right, somebody give me a chart request. Some guy's named Clonius, almost like you. Any of you guys have requests for me? Let's get this rolling. Well, obviously, what you guys see on the screen there is Litecoin. Let's go to like a 15-minute, because I was looking at this earlier, and we actually had kind of a Bollinger Band pinch that I was talking about. Right around here, I posted when we had this doji. I was like, look at that pinch. And I was thinking it can go either way, and it's really hard to know because, I mean, you've got the Jonas here. You see how it looks like it's coming off of overbought, right? So you're gonna think, I'm guessing it's not gonna make it, but then I'm looking at this upward movement that kind of suggests kind of an upward, a continuation, slightly upward. What do you think?
Yeah, if you're looking at the 15-minute right now, kind of through the whole day, even though we had some pullbacks, we've basically been on this kind of slight upward trend here. The fact that we're still at 158 is actually pretty encouraging. Clearly, we just definitely had a pretty nasty wick on the last 15-minute there. Nice little pop there, and I do like the volume right now. The fact that we're basically still kind of trending sideways with a slight upward movement, that's a very bullish move still. So even though these pullbacks are slight, we are putting in higher lows, and that's what you want to see.
Well, so if you're a bull and you're trying to kind of see what it's going to do next, where do you want to see it hold, right? Like where do what's that pullback point where you want to see it hold support?
Well, here's the thing. If we do break, let's say the 154, 153, almost if you want to keep on that lower trend line you drew there at 152, I wouldn't be surprised if we do bounce off that again. I'd be fine with that because we're still kind of putting in a higher high compared to, earlier in the day. The next resistance up, though, we're looking at the 163 area. Now there's $6-7 higher. That's the big test there because we basically tried to break it twice, kind of got rejected once, tried again, got rejected again. And that's what kind of precipitated that pretty nasty sell-off early in the day. So kind of climbing back to that area is what we have to be fighting for now.
Okay. Let's just pull out a little bit. And once again, guys, this is Chad's coming to you. I'm here with my man Jonas. Just doing some instant analysis. We're going to take your chart requests here. You got some fans here in the chat room. They say, hey, Jonas.
What up, everybody?
People keep asking me, where can I find you? The man will let you know when he's available, folks. Was that the producer? They said, all right, be nicer. Okay, sorry, I got to be nicer to you guys. So I'm looking at the 1 hour, and I don't even know what this trend line is that I drew earlier. I should have to assume it's from the 4 hour. And something daily, so that's going to be a daily trend line. I always like to go back and check my work and kind of see what I was looking at. So let's just go ahead and so if I want to like redo my work and I want to kind of analyze it, I want to go let's do like a 4 hour. Let's just kind of move this around to where I would do. So based on my method, I like to use the candle close. And I know Jonas is going to be telling me I'm doing a terrible job with the mouse, but I'm highly medicated. Anyway, let's just move it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's how you do it, huh? And then down here, so what you want to do is there's two ways to do it. And if you folks get a chance, in my blog, chadstrading.blogspot.com, in the newbie guide, I talk about, I have a little, under chart basics, I talk about drawing trend lines. And you could do it two different ways. You can do it by the candle body, or you can do it by the candle close. And, just like anything else, technical analysis, it's an art form. So it's like, everyone has their different approach and why they like it. What seems to work for me is the close, and the reason why is a lot of times you see a move and then you see a price rejection, or you see a move and a lot of profit taking. And so when you have the candle close, it takes into account that whole cycle right? If you're just drawing a trend line based on like a peak, I mean, yeah, but that doesn't really give you more like a volume weighted average. It doesn't give you kind of like a median, a middle kind of an average, right? So candle method I use is the candle close, and a lot of times so a couple more things. Generally speaking, a trend line to be strong, you want to have at least 3 points. You can argue with 2. It's the beginning of a trend line, and you're anticipating a trend line forming.
Now, Chad, if I may, I noticed something here when you originally drew the trend line. You originally kind of had it down here. I noticed something interesting. If you were actually to, let's say, draw it to there, okay, then would you argue that right here was kind of a bullish bull trap, okay?
Right.
Broke down, and now we're actually finding support above that line. I think that's kind of interesting.
Right. So you're making a great point. So what we have right now, this is called a back test. We're essentially back testing. If this were the trend line, we just drew this, so we're back testing our trend line from 20 seconds ago. But if we go back in time and we were actually starting to draw a trend line and we're trying to figure out what it was going to do, we would have picked this point as point 1. We would have picked this point as point 2, and then we were like, okay, and then we'd say, oh wow, it closed above. But if we were smart and we read the newbie guide, and what was the website?
Chedsblog.com.
It's something like that. It's chedstrading.blogspot. This was a hanging man, right? This actually was kind of a signal that you might want to take profit, and a lot of traders get kind of mixed up because they think it's a hammer, and it's not. It's the same candle. It's just it's the context, right? It's where it is, right, buddy?
Right. You want to see a hammer normally at the bottom of some sort of a downtrend, such as right over here. That's a hammer.
Well, let's find it here. Let's a better example. Maybe here.
That's right, because it basically puts in a similar long wick at the bottom where the bulls have fought back up.
Right there.
You have a double test, which I always like to see to confirm that that's where the market feels the price should be, and that double tap there was what actually was able to push that up there.
All right, let's get some. So let's quickly finish this up, and I want to get to the chart request because that's what I promised. I don't want it to be a tease. So you drew this trend line, and it broke it, bull trapped it, but smart traders saw the candle. They read candlesticks, people. All right, stop asking me questions. Read the candlesticks. All right, and then you saw this massive downtrend. I posted a tweet on Twitter. Where else would you post a tweet? But I posted it on Twitter, and it was like 8 red candles in a row in the 4 hours. This is due, and I think maybe it was here. It happened. So it's important to take into account the context of where you are, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point about context and time, because right now we're looking at the 4 hour, and the biggest thing that drops out on me right here is how overbought the stock and basically has been most of the day. So for this thing to go higher, I almost would like to see a reset of that, which would take us a candle down maybe $4 to $5, but would allow it to reset. And if you go to a different time frame, now you look at the hourly, and I'm like, wow, the hourly, we have some running room here because of where the stocking currently is. That basically tells you, okay, we could run there, even though the volume is slightly decreasing while the price is rising.
Look at these kind of mixed signal candles. I mean, although this was a signal spinning top after these 2 red candles, and then you get these here indecision, right? Doji indecision, and then they hit you in the face with this. So that's the thing, you never know. You can think you're the smartest guy in the world until you find out you're not.
And notice how it's riding the middle Bollinger there on the hourly. It seems to be respecting that, and it's done that a couple times here where it was bearish until it broke. Where am I going here? Until it broke the under the lower Bollinger, and that was the signal that it was oversold.
Yep.
And then once it broke above, and it was overbought.
That's a great point. You actually mentioned to me earlier. Why don't more of these crypto guys use the Bollinger Bands? Isn't that, you've noticed that, right? That not many guys do.
We were very successful in our stock trading by using the Bollinger Bands because it really is a great monitor. And the thing about the Bollinger Bands, it's important to look at it on several different time frames and kind of see at what particular time frame the current market is respecting here. But no, on the 1 hour, this is interesting here because I'd like to see continued holding of the middle Bollinger. Yep. If we break it, I'd like to see a good wick that comes back up that basically shows it wants to respect that. And if it goes down, I pretty much know where it's going to stop out, probably at the lower Bollinger.
Let's jump on the requests. So 8 is the first request. Jonas, once you go first, what time frame do you want to look at?
We'll start with the hourly. That's fine there. So interesting here. If you look at the bottom right here, this is the hourly. This is what I like to see here. I'm just going to slightly remove your volume here just to get a better look at these wicks. So we have 3 wicks here. A lot of indecision, but I like the fact that every time we broke under the low in Bollinger, we came up and they supported it, and then we held it on the lower here.
You know, if you were here, Jonas, after this third candlestick, I mean, you'd say this is a nice setup, right? What do you see that you would like? What do you see here?
I'm seeing price stabilization, and at the end of every close, I'm seeing a very tight price action here. Even though the wicks are long, showing a lot of volatility, at the end of each hour, we're closing tight. And it's right area here. So you have 3 hours of confirmation that the market feels this is the bottom. And that's what actually was allowed it to have this really nice impulse wave here.
I mean, this is beautiful. This was textbook. We have either a morning star or it's a long-legged doji. You got a spinning top and you've got a morning star. You've got a hammer here. So this, I mean, you're like, if you're sitting there and you're like, it's like third year of college in candlesticks. Like, here's a setup to look for. Like, then you see these 3 candles in a row while stochastic's the bottom channel. That's pretty good. So right now, now it was such a beautiful setup. We had to dwell on that for a minute, folks. So it's an hour. So every candle, let's just keep this in context. We're just new into this candle, so we kind of want to ignore this, right?
Yeah, it's way too early in the hour. Only about 15 minutes in. Clearly, it's finding a little rejection. I would not call it a tweezer yet, just because it's not really. You want to see almost the same size kind of wicks there. So we might be coming down a little bit, but I think we still got some movement here. This one has some mojo, even though it's a little overbought because we're kind of over the top Bollinger.
So I look for patterns, and I immediately see, Big Jonas. I see this move. I see this move, and then I see this move right here. So when you were here, and what you have similar, and here 1, 2, 3, what you have is a price surge, what you would call an impulse or whatever, but it's above the upper Bollinger Band, and that's going to tell you profit taking has to happen. So the question is, where does the pullback pull back to? Where's the pullback stop at? Here you're looking. Why was it here? It was kind of random in this case, because in this case I just looked. And the pullback was right near the previous wick here. This spinning top, the high of the candle. So up here, what you want to see, you'd actually rather see this candle than like a hammer, than what would look like a hammer, but would really be a hanging man, right? Wouldn't you rather see this, which would signal healthy consolidation? If you move back just under the upper Bollinger Band, it will give you time, right, to kind of churn and get ready for a new leg. In your experience, don't you always have to move out some sellers, right, before you can kind of build a new leg? You talk about that a lot, right?
Yeah, that's why a retest of the middle Bollinger would not be out of the cards anytime soon. It's definitely having a nice impulse move right now. But, I mean, we got a lot of hours under our belt here of this nice impulse wave. So a retest of the middle Bollinger on a nice long wick would basically kind of allow it to reconsolidate and let the chart cool off just a little bit for its next leg.
All right, let's go to, so we're going to watch that one. Let's go to, do you want to pick, or should I just keep going down the line?
Let's do Ken Toro. Let's see, Luke Rogers. A bunch of people actually will want to do some XLM. Kevin Shadow, let's do some XLM, some Lumen.
All right, I like the shout out. People, I know when I listen to radio shows, I like to hear them, shout you out. Thanks for calling. XLM, we talk about this on every show.
Yeah, this is a one that we've been following for a while. What do we bottom here? Somewhere around 2,200 Satoshi, and now up 28. So definitely a nice move over the past 24 hours there. What we're seeing here finally is kind of this falling knife that's been slowly falling over the past month or so. Maybe it found a bottom here. I do like the nice wick that it put it on the hourly at the very bottom there. Basically shows that the bears were kind of exhausted and the bulls were able to kind of put in a decent foundation there. I also like the fact that when it broke the lower Bollinger, that was kind of your signal there that, hey, we're really kind of oversold here. And the thing that basically has allowed this move here is because we were oversold. I'm kind of assuming this wick was just a fat finger, although it is funny how it just fell right on the lower Bollinger there. And that may have actually kind of distorted the Bollinger there a little bit.
I think this happened just before our last show, and as I was looking today, I saw at least a dozen charts that had this type of move today. So it was either just like a deep capitulation, and then that's pretty big. I mean, but 26 to 21, you revisited this old low. That's pretty interesting. But it's interesting. It was coordinated. I saw it all across the board. So what are we thinking now? So XLM is similar. You're having a nice move recently. I've been posting this setup on Twitter, and what I liked about the setup, you want to go higher level? Let's do a 4 hour. Okay. I just want to quickly point out, I think we were right here, and I saw this setup right here. And there's several reasons why I like this setup. Obviously, at this point, right? Obviously, it's a bullish pennant, but it was right at. So you have several things. You've got the one, you've got it right at the middle Bollinger support. Two, you've got it after like a series of sideways candles. Well, that's one way to draw it. But I was thinking more of a bull pennant. I was thinking flagpole that way, and then you kind of bring it. You can start it there. That's not bad. I'll bring it up here a little bit, but that's good enough. So yeah, right. So you're right there. You've got bottom trend line support, which happens to be in your which you did middle Bollinger. You've got stochastic RSI bottom channel with rising on balance volume. So that was actually a nice little setup. It's not that looked to me like a 70% favorability where you have those types of things set up, 60%, 60-70% at least. And yeah.
Real quick about this, it's hard to determine if this is a rising wedge or actually a bullish pennant. Because we've seen kind of both over the past couple days where you have kind of a rising wedge, which gives you some hope only to really have a nice dump. So I think this is actually more of a bull pennant because of the mood of the market right now and just the way it's trending. This feels a lot more bullish to me than kind of a bear trap at this point.
Okay. Let us real quick. I just want to show you guys, if you follow me on Twitter, most likely that's why you're here. But if you don't, I'm at Big Cheds. For those of you, for whatever reason, haven't been to my blog yet, where you been? But no, it's a lot of fun. You guys, everybody goes there, loves it. If you don't love it, I want to know why, so I can make it better. I mean, I've tried to make it kind of a place where you can go get good information. A lot of it's crowdsourced. Like a lot of this is from other traders, and through the years, if I found out something's wrong, I improve it. I want to know it's right because there's so much misinformation, right? Do you know what I'm saying, Big Jonas?
There's a lot of people that want to be in this field, that want to be in this market, want to be part of crypto, and they don't know where to begin. There's so much out there, so much information, so much stuff flashing in their face. They don't know where to start. They don't know who to trust, And I think that's why there's such a value because it gives you kind of a straightforward understanding of where to begin and a real understanding about things you can look for and really that make you become a better trader at this game.
Appreciate it. Those are actually high praise coming from you. How much do I have to pay you for those comments? Let's get back. So I'm looking at let's see, Neo was asked. I want to let's bang these out. People are here, they're hungry. I promised charts. So let's do it. All right, let's go. What do we see on Nano? What do you see here, Jonas?
All right, so we had a really nice run there, a nice impulse wave here from the bottom. We had a nice wick there, basically showing that we kind of had a agreed capitulation here. Nice bounce there. We kind of tried to double test it, put in another one there, and then boom, we were off to the races. Couple of nasty rejection wicks there, and we were way overbought there, way over the Bollinger. I do like this consolidation. We're seeing some sideways action there. A lot of profit was taken here for people that were able to enter in here. As long as we keep going sideways and really stay above this area here, what was that 9,000 area? That's our support now. I wouldn't be surprised if this puts in another leg up.
I totally agree. I like the setup. You're sideways after a big move. You found a bottom. You're cooled off. Clearly, there's not a lot of instability here. You see on balance volume, it shows not a lot of instability. I like that. We just did that. Let's do Neo. Did we do Neo? We're at Nano. Let's do Neo. Neo is making a move right now. We're only 20 minutes into this candle, Big Jonas, and we're already piercing the upper Bollinger.
Yeah, that's some nice volume coming there. Now, look what happened today.
You want to look closer? Should I go 15 minutes? Normally with this type of thing, you want to go closer, right? Like a scientist with a microscope. Now we know we have to go a little closer. What do we see?
Ooh, we're seeing some nice.
Can I get the volume back? What are we doing here?
Sure. Notice what was interesting here is how tight the Bollinger's pinch there. That was something that really was interesting there, because when the Bollinger's pinch, it's basically telling you that we're kind of go one direction or the other here. And because if you go back to the hourly for just a moment here, I want to see what the setup was here. We had our impulse wave up here. We had nice consolidation, flagging slightly higher, putting in higher lows ever so slightly. That's a great bullish move. And then once we basically decided, okay, time for our next leg, boom, there it was. This was a great setup all day.
I like it. I think you've actually cleared this prior resistance too. So that's interesting. Given the position of the channel here, this isn't bad. It could run, but here's what I think it could do. What I would think if it does run, what it's gonna do is peak. It's gonna peak. It would peak here, right, and then consolidate. It would peak between 86 and 87, and then consolidate. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're so oversold. We had a V bottom there, which is great, and now we're basically kind of retest a lot of the areas that we were where we came down. This is definitely a volume area that we were at before, and we're probably kind of retested again as resistance this time. How
gorgeous is this candle now, at least in retrospect? I mean, it looks unbelievable. But like, at what point, if you're okay, so you're saying, oh sure, hey, you're a smart guy, you can look at in the past and see why the candle's good. There's a couple ways to play this. If you'd seen the candle and you're watching it, and you're like, like I always recommend. Let me just quickly go to an aside here. I always tell people it doesn't matter what you trade as long as you study those tickers, right? You wanna follow. If you only, doesn't matter what 10 plays you follow, know those 10, right? So if you're watching Nano and it's your play, you see this candle here and you're like, that is a doji, long-legged doji, indecision after a downtrend. It's oversold,
but it closed. And here's what's so cool about this candle here. Look how it closed. It closed dead on from where it opened.
That's bullish.
And as soon as it did that, boom, there was that impulse wave.
So here's what I'm doing, but I'm talking about Jonas intraday this day. Are you waiting till here? You're like, heck no, I'm not buying up here, right? So what you want to do is you want to look for a little confirmation, a break of this day's high. Okay, that's one potential. What? Yeah, this candle's high. You'd say if you're using a 1 hour method and this is how you're trading, you get your signal here. That's your signal. You're gonna start. You probably started crossing early in the hour, and you're on balance volume recovery, and then boom, as soon as you break this high, that's where you'd buy.
Which was 68.23. As soon as that broke that and held it, that was a confirmation right there.
Okay.
And
all right, let's go to the next one. We are looking at. You pick the next one.
Sorry, Dan the Man. We already did Neo. We'll do ZRX a little bit later. Let's do a E. Let's do here no ZRX person. Scott Francis, ICX. Let's do ICX.
ICX. Okay. All right. Let's go ICX. Icon. Let's zoom out a little bit. Do you want to go a different time frame? We've been doing an hour. You want to stick with that?
Let's start there for a minute. This is another great chart there with a great impulse wave. We bottomed out again. Let's zoom in a little bit closer to the bottom here.
Draw this trend line real quick.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it's another flagging trend line. This is another bull flag forming here. Upward momentum here. Good pulse wave there. Nice volume too. As soon as we bottomed out, a lot of green candles there on the hourlies. I like the constant stock and RSI keeps on resetting once it gets a little overbought. You like to see that. It's fine to have that kind of W pattern.
And then people are saying this is hidden bearish divergence. I don't consider bearish divergence on an overbought, oversold indicator like a stochastics RSI. It's actually bullish in my humble opinion, and this is just my method, guys. I'm not the best charter. I just know my style of charting, so I'm not, claiming I know everything. When the price is rising, like right here, a little bit, like in generally speaking here, from here to here, and the price and the oscillator is going down while you're consolidating, and if the price can hold its gains while you're moving from overbought to oversold, that's a good thing, right? So don't tell me there's bearish divergence. Are you telling me that, the price hasn't lost anything and all of a sudden now it's oversold? Oh, that's bad, right? Is that a bad situation?
It's not. Here's the thing. What we're seeing here is money flow, and that's your first kind of sense there. So because there's money flow in here, basically what you're playing here, I believe, a bullish momentum here with a bunch of the alts that we looked at. A lot of them look very similar right now. Money is starting to come in. So because of that, Again, these alts are always still very risky, but what we're seeing is something that we have not seen for a very long time. And I'm just going to go out here and let's just look at the daily just to get an overall sense. Got a long way to go here. This is a great thing here, but we have seen a couple times where we have this kind of rising wedge. This one feels a little different here for some reason, just because look at these two huge, massive green candles.
What do you see that's different in the stochastics RSI?
So, all right, so we've bottomed before down here, which was basically oversold for a while. So then we had a nice little pop there, okay? So all right, we're kind of go bottom again, but we didn't go bottom again. The bull stepped in not at the bottom there, and we got a nice cross there, which means that we're actually, as long as we stay in this kind of purple area, that's bullish. Every time you kind of get down here, it's basically showing there's not a lot of selling pressure. If we can chill out in this area for a little bit, kind of bounce around, grab some support, wouldn't be surprised if we push again. So the daily basically says I have some room to run here.
Can you show me on the on-balance volume, is there a trend you see, and then is there like a line that you want to see broken to show some strength?
Take a look at my little chart here. Do this here, and look at look at that.
See, I wouldn't draw it that way. I want to get as many points as possible. I think I might be able to get 3 points this way. That's okay. That's another method. Let's do that one, and
so
let's
we
do
can
the
do
other
that.
one.
And then we go from here to a little lower.
No, let's get this too much. I'm just talking about these 3 points. These are the 3 most obvious points to me. Because this is like a double top. So let's just clear this out real quick. Let's just clear this out. Let's just go ahead and do this. Let's clear this out. And what I want to do, I'll pull this to like right here. And I was thinking I see roughly 3 trends, and you can even kind of do it this way. But it doesn't have to be exact. What we're looking for is a kind of a momentum change, right? So it doesn't have to be exact. So if you're looking for confirmation, you're going to want to wait for this hour's candle to close, and you're going to want to wait for your crossing buy signal to confirm. You want to maybe see a break of this trend line. You're going to have to deal with the middle Bollinger. Isn't that concerning on this chart?
I wouldn't be surprised if that's our first rejection area, and I wouldn't be surprised if that actually coincides with our OBV, resistance line here that you just drew there. Once this line here gets up here and tests this again, because we got a little bounce, 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 here's our basically rejection line here. Wouldn't be surprised if that's where we see some price action rejection. Probably start happening tomorrow.
Let's jump on. Let's do a few more, and we're gonna sign off. I know everybody has other places to be. Let's do NULS. NULS. Who's at? You're right. I should be calling out the names.
Joseph Basil.
Joseph Basil. Basil. And by the way, if we mispronounce your name, you can blame Jonas. It's not my fault. Let's see. NULS. NULS looks like it's coming off bottom here. I really like NULS right now. That's a daily chart. Well, daily chart's obviously appealing, right? Do we even close the candle yet? What time is it? Half an hour. I mean, this is setting up to be a really good chart. You've got, I mean, this, I like this a lot. Look at this. Look at this candle. Look at that candle. Look at the volume. Look at the on-balance volume. Look at that cross. This actually looks pretty tasty. What do you think?
Yeah, this one has been trying to bottom for quite a while. Stocking was basically bottomed out, way oversold. When the blue and the red are basically at nut bottom there, doesn't get much worse than that. We had a great, that's what you want to see. That's your bullish hammer there, because it was at the bottom of a trend, had a super long wick. This is a crazy money flow action that happened here. And the bulls came all the way back, closed a tight range from the open and close. Over here, a little test down, nice wick there, and boom. Look at that green candle. Great. This is sell-off. Remember, there's a lot of loading up also happened here too. So this one has some room to move, especially how low the stocking is on the daily. This has a lot of running room ahead of it.
Do you want to take us into a closer time frame? And just because we don't, it looks good here, but it could actually be like really overbought in the moment, right? So let's just kind of take a look.
All right. So this is a 30 minutes, kind of going a little tighter than we normally do, but.
Okay, yep.
But just kind of a reference point here. There's our bottom. Is that our bottom? There's our bottom. There's our impulse wave. A little consolidation here. Kind of a suck out test. You know, kind of see who's in, who's out. This probably took out a lot of people that were bought down here. Good consolidation area. Came way back. Held it. Held the lower Bollinger. Boom. Tried it again. Held the middle Bollinger. Boom. And now we're kind of a little overbought here on the upper Bollinger. And if we go to the hourly, same deal. Break of the upper Bollinger. Great bullish move there. A little topped off here, though, on the stock as well.
Topped off. Yeah, this is... I mean, if you're gonna be, you gotta be conservative because it doesn't matter. There's other charts. Like you can find a chart that looks just as good and just happens to be oversold, so potentially. So what you want to do is wait for a pullback to support and hold. 'Cause this has been like you really wisely pointed out. That's been the trend. And what just real quickly, we'll move on here. But I'd say let's wait and see if it can hold support. It was interesting that one candle we saw when you dissect it into these little pieces, right? Isn't that kind of interesting? So you can see what it looks like. I like doing that to see, you're like, oh, that's a whatever candle. You jump right into when you were 30 minutes. I think it was even more interesting. Yeah, you can really dissect it. You can see that big doji, like how it was formed. It was like, whoops. You see that? That's kind of interesting. What's next? Let's do three more. What do we got next? This one? Where do you want to go?
Let's see. Marcus O'Finnegan would like us to do OMG. I think that actually had some decent volume today, so let's check out OMG.
Okay, you want to take us off the top here on the 1 hour? Or I'll go ahead. Yeah, I mean, what strikes me the first here, big Monus, big Lonus, big Fonus, big Chonus, is if you look at the on-balance volume, you look how it's it's skyrocketing, right? I mean, it's that's the thing that kind of jumps out to me the most. What do you see?
Yeah, OBV kind of went nuts there when we bottomed here. I mean, we're looking at the hourly chart here. Almost kind of a very slow trickling bottom here. I would not call this a V bottom, more like a wee bottom here, but it definitely found some support there at the bottom. These are kind of inverted hammers, even though it's a long wick down there. Because it's a small close here, that's actually a bullish sign there. Had one more little dip, and then boom, 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 and this is a good impulse wave here. When I went overbought above the Bollinger there, super wick down, came back, but it's holding up. Wouldn't be surprised if we test the middle again. But this is a nice upward trend. I'm loving the OBV. And we'll just check out the 4 hour real fast, kind of see where we are here. A little topped off there. This is a great move here. So looks like we went a little too heated there, kind of consolidating. Wouldn't be surprised if we had a little pullback, but this is one to watch for sure.
All right, so we gotta. I mean, it's a question of if it can continuation. Is it gonna reject it or can it keep going? And you have to look for strength. And where do you look for strength? You look in volume, and you look on balance volume. You can have any number of indicators, and you got to kind of find the one that works for you. And it works for me. This tells me, generally speaking, how strong something is. Let's go ahead and do. What's the next? I'll pick one here. Let's go ahead and do OST.
Who's asking for that one?
That would be the PC Games for Free. That's her name. Okay, OST. Let's go to OST. So we are, looks like flat on the day. 4 hour is showing that it's kind of going sideways, but it's not putting in a great candle here right now, and I'm not seeing a lot of great strength here on Dunn's volume.
Yeah, this is one that kind of missed the boat on a bunch of the alt rally today. This one is kind of interesting, I mean, definitely some sideways action there, a little volume, but people just are not looking at this one for some reason. It's a little sketchy. That's kind of a red flag there for me.
Well, I mean, yeah, but we're also approaching. We're really right at the bottom. I mean, we're at the bottom, so it's like, it's not gonna. I mean, there's a lot of upside in this, and so this is a great area, honestly, in my opinion. Last one. Should we do this one, please, the people? Let's do Matthew Smith. Let's do Ripple XRP.
Hey, Matthew, thanks for listening.
Yeah, appreciate that. Once again, this is Cheds. Here, my buddy Big Chonus. We want to share what we think, and I think he and I have been doing this for a while. We like to argue or agree, and I always find that helps me to get perspective from someone I trust. Right? Do you feel the same way? Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to kind of know who you want to listen to. There's a lot of people out there putting charts out, putting their ideas out. And that's another thing. It's important to get a lot of views from different people. If people are bullish, you want to see a whole perspective of what their charts look like. If they're bearish, you want to see a whole range of that, because you can see a bearish chart in so many ways and a bullish chart in so many ways. And
it's always good, to bounce it off someone else. Because if I'm trying to tell you my view of it, I might realize while I'm explaining my view to you that my theory's flawed, right? And that will happen. I'll be like, wait a minute, is that true? We do that a lot. So let's get XRP done, and wish everyone a good night. XRP. So it's been recovering a little bit here. And we're going to have to look for continuation, right? We're looking overbought, but it doesn't mean it can't run. Like it was overbought here, right? It was overbought at 79, and here we are at 83. So we don't know if it can continue or not.
Yeah, there's some money flow there. The one thing that kind of sticks out is if you look over here, we had much more volume here on this impulse wave back, looks like March 5th or something like that. Similar impulse wave, not that much volume here. So even though we had a good move there, I think a lot of money on this one is still on the sidelines.
Excellent. So we'll wait and see. I'm just going to briefly, we'll do that. I'm just going to quickly, I want to look closer. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Looks like you're trying to start a new flagpole. So you're either going to start a new flagpole or you're going to end up with like an ugly like upper wick, right? It's 1 and 2. So we'll just quickly, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Litecoin's 160. Look at that. So that's some nice strength. So that's doing pretty well. Presumably Bitcoin as well. We're looking at 85.25. So next up is obviously this area. We've got a little bit of history here in the 85s.
Yeah, the more times you test the resistance area, the better chance you have to break. And on the hourly, the stock in basically a nice reset, and it's ready to charge up. OBV is strong all the way. And the volume is nice too. It's consistent. We're seeing consistent volume. When it seems to kind of drop off, boom, it comes in again. The buyers are there. The money is back. Now this is just getting started here, so we'll be very cautious and patient, see how this plays out. But so far, Bitcoin is looking very bullish right now.
It's looking good. We obviously have to see how it handles resistance, but I think it looks great. Thank everybody for showing up. I want to remind you, check out my blog, cheztrading.blogspot.com. If you want to show some love, Litecoin address. And follow me on Twitter. Feel free to reach out to me. I love taking questions. I mean, I try to answer all of them, but a lot of them can be answered by the guide. But I do like to interact with people, so please reach out. And hope you guys have a great night. And wish you the best. Take care.